collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
Coming up this week, we'll meet John Karayiannis, who's representing Cyprus at the Eurovision Song Contest.
I always did everything for you. I gave you my heart, you gave me yours too. You make me feel I was really someone, but there's one thing I should have done.
Nature Alert, asking citizens of Europe to take action.
This is why we're calling people to join our campaign here, to send out a strong message that the legislation is fit for purpose and it needs to remain as it is, and it needs to be implemented and enforced. The reason why this process is taking place is because powerful and openly anti-environment lobbies have actually convinced the Commission that less legislation is better regulation.
And the GSP Stadium, a whole sports complex that's looking to attract visitors from abroad.
Foreign teams that come here, mainly athletics, that come here in the winter months or in other months for their training, and they can have everything in one sports center.
It's that time of year again. The Eurovision Song Contest is just about upon us. And joining us on the Cyprus News Digest today, we have the Cypriot entry. Well, not the entry itself, but rather the two people who co-composed it. Representing Cyprus this year is John Karayiannis, and the co-author of the song, One Thing I Should Have Done, Mike Connaris.
Hello.
Guys, thanks for joining me.
Okay.
How did you both meet?
We met about last July, was it?
Yeah.
When I heard about the competition and thought, yeah, I want to have a go and enter the Cyprus project, Eurovision project, but I needed a singer. So I contacted a friend of mine who's got his School of Music in Limassol and asked him if he'd send me some up-and-coming artists there, because I like working with young people with potential. He's an amazing vocal coach, and he recommended this fella here. So John sent a video that he recorded in his front door, I think, of this blues song.
It wasn't a blues song.
It was sort of bluesy.
No, it was a rock song that I turned into a blues arrangement.
And then I heard it, and I didn't particularly like it, but I thought, well, he's got a good voice, but it's not the style that, you know, I'd really want to go for. But so I got a bit nosy and went on his channel, and I found this other song where he was sitting on his bed with his guitar, trying to be a comedian and tell these funny stories.
That was kind of funny.
Sort of funny. And he had written this song called Valentine. Was it something for Valentine's Day, was it?
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and when he sang this, it's the exact style that I thought, wow, that is an amazing voice.
So when Mike approached you, I presume he did, what did you do next? Because had you at some point thought, I want to do Eurovision, or was it something out of the blue?
No, I've always wanted to do Eurovision. I tried to represent Cyprus 7 years ago. I tried to compete in the Junior Eurovision, but it didn't work out. I came third in the national final. After that, I thought, you know, it's never going to happen again, so it's out of the picture. And then this guy comes to me and says, let's do Eurovision. I said, oh my god, wow, Mike Connaris wants to do a song with me, so you can't say no to that. And he called me. I was driving and I pulled over. I answered the phone and he was like, hey, I heard your song, I really like it. You're a big fat liar, by the way.
Cut a long story short, you both got together. Tell me what makes a good Eurovision song. I mean, why has this formula gone on for so many years? And it's not, you can't even really call it Eurovision anymore when you've got Australia in there, for heaven's sake.
I don't think you can say there's anything that makes a great Eurovision song. It's to do with everything, really. The song, obviously, from my point of view, is the most important thing. amazing. But also the voice, the performer is so important. And what's happened over the last 10 years or more now is also the staging and the show event. I believe that the song is still the most important thing, and that if people like a song enough and the artist, that they will vote for it. So our song is simple, and when John came over and I spent a couple of days with him getting to know him and his voice, and we were playing each other music, and I thought, okay, right, I'll come up with something for him. And he went and did his tourist bit around London. I brought him back and said, here, what do you think of this chorus? And he really loved it. We changed the key, make it fit his voice. And then he went away again, then I finished the song off. He came back in and did it in a couple of hours. I finished off the recording, and then we sent it off, and we heard we got through to the last 60, or whatever it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 50 acts, if I'm not...
50 acts, 60 songs, I think. And then come February the 1st, we won it, and that was very, very exciting. Very exciting.
John, what does this mean for you? You've been doing the media rounds, interviews and all the rest of it. Has that phased you? Have you had a quick learning curve of how to deal with nosy journalists and so on?
I guess so. I got some really good advice from the judges of the national final. One of them was Christer Björkman, who's a really cool guy. I think he was...
head of delegation of Sweden, and he's been involved with Eurovision.
And Melody Festival and everything. So he's a massive Eurovision guy, and he kind of gave me a lot of good advice on how to respond to tricky questions. When you get a trick question, ask the question back, which is really good. I find it really clever.
So you're getting media savvy. That's very important, because there is going to be a round of pre-contest interviews. Those are all screened in a lot of different places. Now, I know that there are people who live and breathe Eurovision, and they follow all of that stuff. But before we started chatting, Mike, you mentioned that the main voting body comes from people who have no idea who's taking part, anything about the song. So it's really, isn't it, about that hook, the riff that you base your music on, as to whether or not you can reach across cultures and they say, I like that tune.
No, that's right. You see, ours would be not your typical Eurovision song. It is a simple song, a simple ballad with a nice message in the lyrics, something a bit different, but with a great voice. One of the, I think, the best voices in the competition. And that, see, I'm even saying that. See, in front of him. Wow. And I think that the people that watch Eurovision, from the UK's point of view, I know thousands will not have heard of any of the songs. They'll get there on Saturday night, and they have their parties, they'll sit down and they will look forward to hearing the songs for the first time on that Saturday night, and they make their judgment there and then. So anything that you read on the internet now, what you have to remember, it is such a tiny percentage. I mean, Eurofans are fantastic. They're so dedicated, and they have their own little polls and everything. But as I was saying earlier, that one of John and my favourite songs was from last year, which was the Dutch entry called
Calm After the Storm.
Calm After the Storm, which didn't feature in any polls at all. It was nowhere. And yet...
It finished second.
It finished second.
Even Conchita didn't show up on the polls.
No, till the rehearsals. Till the rehearsals, it started moving up a bit. And I think that, it would be incredible for us to surprise people. To do as well as I did with Lisa Andreas in 2004, where we came fifth. To achieve that, or to do better than that. And I think he can. I honestly think he can. And we'll see. It's not too long to go now.
Yep.
So
you're heading off to Vienna. There's rehearsals. You're going to be heard, I think, on the BBC in the Live Lounge. I mean, it's not just about rehearsing and perfecting the performance on the night, is it? It's a whole package.
Yeah.
What do you hope to get out of it for John Karayiannis?
I hope to get an amazing experience out of this whole situation, which is called Eurovision. It has been a crazy, amazing experience so far, but I think I'm in for a treat when I go to Vienna, because there's going to be, I've been to Amsterdam, I've been to London for the Eurovision parties, but there were interviewers there, but I think it's just 1/10 of what is going to happen in Vienna. It's going to be crazy, and I'm really prepared for it, and I can't wait.
Can you give us just a tiny touch of a cappella so people know what song they're looking out for?
Yep.
I always did everything for you. I gave you my heart, you gave me yours too. You make me feel I was really someone, but there's one thing I should have done.
That is John Karayiannis, and we were talking as well to the co-composer, Mike Connaris. It's the Cyprus Eurovision song entry. Look out for it when you hit the TV next week.
This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
Over 90 environmental NGOs from across Europe have issued a call for all citizens to take part in a joint pan-European online action to save European nature. Save it from what? Well, apparently from Commission President Juncker's deregulation agenda. What does that mean? I've invited Natalie Stylianou, who's media officer with BirdLife Cyprus, one of the NGOs involved in the call, to explain. Natalie, what is Juncker actually saying that he would like to do that all of these NGOs, and 90 NGOs is an awful lot of people, what is it that has got them so upset?
Basically, what is happening now is a concrete attack on nature conservation. The European Commission is running a fitness check of this nature legislation, which is seemingly harmless, but is in reality a possibility to dismantle conservation in the entire EU. The questions that are being asked are if these nature directives are efficient, if they're fit for purpose, and if they're needed. These nature directives are actually state-of-the-art legislation, they are fit for purpose, and they are doing their job. Despite often poor implementation, they're actually making a big difference.
What sort of regulations are we talking about here?
So these are the Birds and Habitats Directives, which are often known as the nature directives. They are laws that provide the foundation of nature protection across the entire EU, and they ensure that the most important places for nature in Europe are identified and that they're given legal protection. And
legal protection presumably from what? Development or industry or that sort of thing?
Various threats. This is basically by adding these areas into the Natura 2000 network, where basically in order to be able to do any development, there first needs to be an environmental impact assessment study.
Is he trying to do away with the Natura 2000?
Well, the Natura 2000 is actually part of the directives, and the directive sets out the requirements to restore and manage these wildlife habitats which are within the Natura 2000 networks. And this is not only about the habitats themselves, but also the threatened species of animals as well as plants that are within these areas.
So, but what is he proposing? If he's simply saying we need to check whether the legislation we have is fit for purpose, surely that's okay, because I presume anybody who does check is going to say, yes, it is. We've got so many endangered plants and animals around Europe that nobody surely would say they shouldn't be protected.
Well, exactly, and this is why we're calling people to join our campaign here, to send out a strong message that the legislation is fit for purpose and it needs to remain as it is, and it needs to be implemented and enforced. The reason why this process is taking place is because the powerful and openly anti-environment lobbies have actually convinced the Commission that less legislation is better regulation. So
do we know who these powerful people are or organisations? Can we name and shame them?
Well, I think in the given context it would be more beneficial to focus on responding to this
threat.
To this threat, yes.
Well, you see it as the threat, but as I say, if they're going to have a look at fit for purpose, they're surely going to come up with the answer that this is fit for purpose. How would that harm anything?
Well, basically, this fitness check is not exactly an exercise to improve the current nature conservation. It's a part of the refit process, whose stated objective is actually deregulation. So they're trying to remove or adjust the existing framework.
To deregulate. So they've already laid down the fact that they're looking at ways to deregulate.
Yes, because as illustrated by President Juncker's rhetoric, he wants to cut green tape.
I think we could understand that the less bureaucracy there is, the better. But does this mean that he's going to give a green light for development in sensitive areas?
Basically, the basis of the directives is the protection of important habitats, important sites, and the species that are found in these areas. So any change in this framework gives way
to the possibility
attack,
of future adjustments.
And we need to protect the environment as it is now. The current legislation, the nature directives, are fit for purpose. The sites that have been important when the legislation was made are still important now. This hasn't changed. It's not like other legal frameworks. So it's not a matter of whether it is still fit for purpose, because we've established that this is most definitely the case. We just need people to join our call and send the message across that we do need this legal framework as it is, and we actually need better enforcement, better implementation to be able to continue to enjoy nature as it is now.
So what do you want people to do?
We would like them to join our call, and they can do so by going on our website, www.birdlifecyprus.org/naturealert, and sign our call and join this action to get the message across that we do need this legal framework to save nature.
And is there a deadline for this? I mean, it's a recent thing, the Nature Alert, but presumably there is a time frame in Brussels.
That's
you
right.
want all these signatures in before that.
That's right. The campaign started on May 12th and it concludes on July 24th. And basically, by taking part in this action, experts in Brussels have prepared answers on behalf of citizens who want to take part. So you can also have a look at the answers as we've prepared them. These are answers that we consider the most appropriate to help protect nature. So you can have a look before
you
joining
sign
in.
and make your mind
Yes.
up. Okay. It's called Nature Alert, so you can go to BirdLife Cyprus's website, or I'm sure if you Google Nature Alert, there'll be information from all these other 90 NGOs across the bloc that are concerned, like you are, about this current Commission proposal.
Yes, but all relevant information is also available on the link that I've mentioned earlier.
That's Natalie Stylianou, Media Officer with BirdLife Cyprus. Look out for Nature Alert and find the details on their website, which is www.birdlifecyprus.org.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
The tourist product in Cyprus, we hear, is on the up. Well, one of the ideas that's been mooted for many years is alternative tourism. You find niche tourism, and that's what you promote. With me on the Cyprus News Digest this week, I have the director of the Gasibi, or GSP, Stadium here in Nicosia, because they have a sports centre that caters specifically for foreign visitors. He is Fivos Konstantinidis. Fivos, tell us about the Allegro complex, which is within this huge complex of the Gasibi Stadium. It's been going now for about 5 or 6 years. What does it do, actually?
Allegra Sports Center, it's called, is a part of the GSP complex, sports complex, which comprises of the National Football Stadium, or the biggest UEFA standard stadium in Cyprus for football, the National Athletic Stadium, which is certified to Class A, which is the Olympic specifications, the track and field athletic stadium, a training field, and also the accommodation facilities, the Allegra Sports Center. The accommodation facilities have been in operation for 5 or 6 years now, as you said, and it is an integral part of the complex. It is a proper sports hostel, as it is officially designated, and it is complementing the services offered by GSP to mainly foreign visitors. When we say foreign visitors, we mean foreign teams that come here, mainly athletics, that come here in the winter months or in other months for their training, and they can have everything in one sports center.
So they can actually stay at the Allegra Sports Centre, a bit like a hotel, and be right next door to the training facilities?
Yes, they stay here, they train here, they do their weights here, they have their lessons or lectures or anything, meetings that they have, because there are also conference centers that they can use. And we're now planning to add to the services offered a swimming pool.
I was about to say, the one thing I've noticed that isn't here,
yes,
and that is an integral part of many field athletes' training, is a swimming pool.
Yes, and in order to facilitate the building of the swimming pool and also fund the swimming pool, because it's not something cheap, we are planning to build 2 swimming pools. One is a small one, which will be strictly for training and rehabilitation, which will have jets inside and other specialized things, and also a bigger one, which will be for swimming training, and it will also serve the public as a public swimming pool for the summer months. It will be closed, but it will be opening. The 2 large sides will be folding windows, which will open on both sides. There will be decking, will be a restaurant and everything, and will serve also the community as a public swimming pool.
And presumably will make the Gassibi some money as well on that.
Yes, which will fund the actual swimming pool, because the estimated cost is around €500,000, which is a huge amount for us, especially in this period in Cyprus with the financial problems we have. So you must know that something can be funded in order to build it and operate it, and this is what we are planning. I have to also mention that we are in negotiation with the Stovolo municipality, because there is no swimming pool in the municipality, and we are trying to find a way to cooperate on this. Maybe will be the home of the Stovolo's Nautical Club. Everybody has, Stovolos doesn't, and which is also a swimming club. And also maybe a municipal swimming pool in cooperation with us, but we will find a way to cooperate with the municipality. This will extend the services offered by the center to the full extent of something that can be offered.
How many athletes do you host on average every year? Because it is a seasonal thing. They tend to come particularly from Northern Europe, I think, during the winter months when we have perfect weather for athletic training.
Yes, just to give you an example, last week we had about 60 people here from Sweden, Hungary and Germany. Especially from Germany, we got for many years the top throwers team with gold Olympic medal winners and world champions in. I remember when they left Allegra some time ago and they went on training and they broke the world record. They were sending us thank yous and good wishes for the training for the time that they spent here. But we get about 400 to 500 athletes every year, mainly from northern countries, and you said, but also from Greece, because Greek athletes come here. There is also the exchange program between the Cyprus Sports Organization and the General Secretariat in Athens regarding exchange of athletes and training facilities. And based on that exchange program, we get also top Greek athletes here.
How many athletes are you hoping? I mean, have you got a target after you've built the swimming pool and so on? It's a reasonable number at the moment, but I presume you could double it without too much trouble. How do you sell the product to teams abroad?
We had a problem selling the product at the beginning because there was an agreement in place between Apoel Football Club and the Allegra, which meant that Apoel were staying here, which meant that one night a week was booked. So when you have a group of a lot of athletes and they need, for example, 20 rooms, we have 33 rooms there. The total is 33, it's not very big. So when you have 20 rooms booked for Apoel or any club on a weekly basis, then it falls in the middle of the period that the athletes wanted, so you cannot book the athletes. So we were losing people because of that. Now,
so how did you solve that problem?
No, Apoel in their wisdom decided, the new coach decided that he wants to have the team in a hotel rather than a secluded sports hostel inside the stadium. It's a matter of, and they left. So this is very good for us. I don't think or I hope that the people that are working with the hotel will not come back with a suggestion of putting another team in. We have football teams staying here, but not on a basis of once a week. For example, AEK Larnaca, when they play here, they come out the local crowd. When they have a game here, they want to stay here. That's no problem. So when we have the availability, we also have the swimming pool. We have the training swimming pool, the rehabilitation swimming pool as well, which will work together. We also built a new weight room with full facilities for ice baths, for a small one, for few top athletes. Not for everybody. There is another one for everybody else. And also the full rehabilitation center that operates at Allegra for 5 years now as well, with state-of-the-art equipment. It's a 500 square meters area inside the hostel, which has this rehabilitation center.
And who uses the rehabilitation center?
Anybody can use it. But for us, we have our athletes that come here, and also athletes that are recuperating from injuries or after an operation. It's mainly for athletes. It's not for people that use a huge rehabilitation centers.
And what about the staffing? You have trained physiotherapists and all the rest of it in there?
Yes, they are all people that have been trained, mostly in the UK. They are physiotherapists. We have a couple of guys with masters in rehabilitation and sports therapies. And it's going very, very well.
And of course, we're hoping that it's going to go even better as part of the Cyprus recovery that we're all looking forward to. Fivos Konstantinidis, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Rosie. Nice talking to you again.
Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.